Hi everybody, welcome to another day of Stencilpalooza. This is week 2, which is our holiday Christmas week. So I'm going to have 2 videos for you today. I'm going to share each stencil that's released today in different videos. The housekeeping things are Stencilpalooza. You can buy them 3 ways. You can buy them one at a time. You can buy them by the week, or you can buy the entire set. The shipping is just $1, whether you buy 1, 2, the week, or the whole thing. However, if you add anything else from the store to it that's not part of Stencilpalooza, it's not a stencil from Stencilpalooza, the standard shipping rates apply. Any affiliate links down below, or any links down below are affiliate links, which just means I receive some credit if you place an order at no cost to you, which helps me bring you content. So let's now jump down to the desk and get started. So today's stencil is the CircleFlake. It looks like this. It's really fun. I have 2 cards going to come for you today. I'm going to start with some Not Your Mama cardstock. And the first card we're going to do is a slimline card. So I'm going to cut down to 3 1/4. That's going to be our panel. And then I'm going to cut one at 3 1/2, which is going to be our matte layer. And then our other card we will make as A2, but we'll do that one next. All right, so we're going to start with our card panel, and I'm going to use my glass mat instead of my stick and stay pigment palette today because I'm going to be moving my stencil around. So what we're going to do is I'm going to very carefully take my stencil, and I'm kind of using the dots in the center, and I'm going to go ahead and line this up about as perfect as I can make it. I want to make sure my paper is flat on my table. I'm going to go ahead and add this here, and then I'm going to grab a little bit of pixie tape, and I am going to tape it down just to keep it kind of from moving because I'm an aggressive blender. I'm also going to tape off, I have some Post-it note tape here, mint tape. I'm just going to tape off the little bit of edges so I don't accidentally overblend. It's hard to come together fairly quickly. I also did go through my stash to see what Christmas stamps might be still available, and I chose a Christmas. It was a Stamp Club Premium last year, and it is now available while supplies last. I will show you that in a minute. So first thing we're going to do, clean up my blending brush. And I'm going to go ahead, and I am using Tropical Tango for this card. And I'm just going to go in and blend it on. You can go as light or as dark as you want. There are lots of things you can change up for this card. You can leave it in place and put some glazes down. Or you could, there is a technique where you can take like a glue pen and do some glue into the individual circles and add some glitter. I did not do that this time. I'm just going to do some plain blending. Okay, looks pretty good. So then what I'm going to do is we're going to remove the magnets, remove the stencil and the tape. Oops, I'm just going to slide it out, I guess. And that is the design in this corner. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to do the exact same design in this corner. So once again, I'm lining up the tip, making sure my card straight is kind of straight. Let's put my magnet down. And I'm just trying to kind of make sure it's over just enough to get a little bit of those dots. It doesn't have to get the full dot, but I do want to make sure it's straight. Okay, that looks good. It doesn't have to be perfect. Oops, I moved it a little bit. There we go. Keep moving it a little bit. That's what I like about having the tape. And the reason I didn't use the pigment palette to keep it in place this time is because I'm moving my stencil. And then I don't have to, if I was just going to ink blend in one spot, then I could leave it in place on the pigment palette. So I'm just using parts of the stencil today. I'm not doing the full on. I did create a card I will try and find and have it get uploaded to the site on the page where I did use this as a background, more of the snowflake. I have to look for it though today. Okay, we're going to remove that. And then now I'm going to quickly wipe this off just a little bit because I'm going to move it around. I'm not going to really clean it. I'm just going to wipe it so I don't actually smudge. And I have a little bit of snowflake in each corner. Now it's kind of depends on how you want to do this. You'll see from my, I'll have to show you another sample. I did it a little bit differently than I did this time. I'm just going to go ahead and put my magnet down. Go ahead again and tape off my edge so that I don't over ink blend. I'm just adding some of the fun circle design to kind of mimic snowflakes, but only partial snowflakes. Some areas are a little darker than others. I'm okay with that. The variation gives it a little interest. So move that off like this. And then we're going to flip our card panel around and we're going to get one more section here. And I'm going to put it right back down again. Like I said, mask off the areas so you don't overblend. Put that guy right there just so it stays. I will show you a second where on my sample, when I was making this card, designing this card, I think I went in a little bit more with the stencil into the center on the one corner. And this one, I did it the same exact kind of measurement. We might add some glitter to this one. We'll see how things are going time-wise. All right, so now we're going to peel and reveal. And we have this beautiful, fun background. Put our stencil away here. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take this. This is my card. This is our mat. And I'm going to go direct to paper. And I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of the ink. And you can do it either way. You can swipe it. I love the Stellar inks because they're juicy. And I can just, and I'm just using the corner. We don't have to do the whole thing. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it will dry back a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and I might switch it around to this side. I've already made a couple cards, so I've used a little bit of the ink. All right. And then while we're doing that, I'm actually just going to grab a small piece of scratch paper because I already have this part pre-done, but I wanted to show you what I did. I'm going to take some scratch paper because I cut some snowflakes out already. And I just went direct to paper and just, again, but I did the whole panel. Like I said, I didn't worry about it being perfect because we're going to add a little bit of shimmer to it. Wipe off our desk here quick. Get all that extra ink off before I get it all over my fingers. And then I'm going to grab my splat box. And what I'm going to do is we're going to add the Ornament Gold Chroma Mist. I love it. I do need to shake it up just a little bit. Get that shimmerness mixed in. Okay, and then I'm just going to spritz it all over. And then I'm going to set it aside to dry, but look at the shimmer on that. So I'm going to set that aside to dry because I already have one done. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. But I'm just going to kind of spritz on the edge. I mean, it kind of spritzes all over. It's fine. And off to the side. And I'm going to take this quick, just set it down. And then I'm going to heat it with my heat tool just a little bit to dry it. Okay, I'm just gonna let that dry a little bit more off camera, and we'll move on to the next part of our card, which is our sentiment. Actually, I do need, I guess, this part a little bit. So for part of our sentiment, I'm going to heat set this just a little bit because I did need part of this. I'm going to go ahead and grab my whiskey here. Trying to figure out where I put my stamp. There it is. And so this, for my sentiment, I grabbed this Season's Greetings. Like I said, this is available on the website. I think it's fun. I didn't get to use this very much last year because by the time the post office delivered it, it was almost, I think it either sold out or Christmas was over or something. It was a little late, so I didn't use it a whole lot. And I'm just going to go ahead and line it up. I might line it up like this. I'm going to line it up kind of in the middle. Use a little anti-static powder tool. And my alabaster ink. And I'm going to stamp this several times because I am stamping on a colored cardstock with that shimmer. Just to make sure it's nice and juicy and white. And then I'm going to grab this out. And I'm going to use some alabaster embossing powder. There we go. Let's heat set that. I like to use our alabaster ink with our alabaster because I get that nice bright white. Oops. Keep it all. It doesn't like the shimmer. There we go. A nice bright white. And then of course you can see a little bit of that shimmer. And then what I did was I grabbed a die from my stash, just some nesting dies. And I just found one that would fit my sentiments because I didn't want a ton of space. I just wanted that little bit of extra color. And we're going to die cut that out. We're almost ready for this card to be done. You could totally spritz the center of your card. You could have spritzed your stencil with that shimmer mist as well before you removed it, and it would give all the sparkle to the shimmer. Now, I did say something about maybe adding some glitter to this, and I'm thinking I might do a little glitter. I did grab some, but it's in a Bahama blue versus a teal. I didn't find my white glitter, so let me see if I can find a glue pen here. That will work the easiest. I may not have one handy. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some of my liquid glue. Let's see if I can get it to come out. I didn't prep my glue. Let's get some glue on here. And I'm just going to grab a paintbrush. I'll show you quick what I meant by this. So add a little bit of glue to each of our big circles. I mean, you could add as much as you want or as little as you want. And since this is liquid glue, it'll take a little bit longer to dry. A quickie glue pen is perfect for this. But mine seems to have walked away right now. I'm going to try to quickly do all of them. You could also take your time and do one at a time and make sure it's nice and of course you could also do this through the stencil and not wipe your stencil off right away. You could heat emboss the fairy dust embossing powder over. This would be beautiful. Our fairy dust, it's a very glittery fairy dust. but I thought maybe I'd add some glitter to this one. Okay. Quick wipe that glue up so I don't get it on everything. And we need to grab a piece of paper. This is just one of our release sheets. Grab the glitter. This is called Bahama Blue. I'm just going to add a little bit of glitter to each one of these. Like I said, you could add this to all of the outsides. I'm just going to do the centers of the big ones. Take that off a little bit. There's some extra glitter on the sides. It's fine. It'll come off. Once it's really dry, I will top it really well over my garbage can. Get the extra glitter in. Like I said, if you're not a glitter person, you could do embossing powder. You could also cover this with one of our sparkle overlays and get some shimmer that way. Just gonna wipe that up here. Tap that off just a little bit in our garbage. And I have, see, a little fun sparkle, which adds a little bit of fun. All right, so for my sentiment, I'm going to grab some foam tape here. Oh, what I didn't show you, but I told you, is when I used this piece, I die cut out a bunch of, I die cut out my snowflakes, and these are just snowflakes from my stash. I just grabbed the first snowflakes die that I saw. I'm gonna go ahead and put my little sentiment down right here. And then I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna be honest, I accidentally tore this snowflake, but we're gonna use it. Why not, right? So let's grab our liquid glue. This one seems to be working tonight. And all we're gonna do, since this one has that torn edge, is just stick it under right in here. And then just embellish with a few other snowflakes. I'm going to fill in kind of some of the white space. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put in this one, this nice big one. And that is the fun part, is you could also cut these out of like a glitter stock. That one up in here. Okay. And I got one last little one down here. Put him down here. And then of course the centers of these cut out, and you can push those as well, but I'm going to just leave that because that's 5. Save that for another card. And then last but not least, I am going to gently flip this over. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit the camera. Tape. Add some tape runner to the back of my card. My glitter isn't quite dry, so you'll see it's coming off there a little bit. And we're going to grab our panel, and then we're just going to line it up at the bottom. And that's why we only did the edges. More extra glue there. Straighten that out a little bit. And there we go. There is card number 1. And here is my sample that I originally made, where I was showing you, I went a little bit deeper into when I was doing the ink blending to have a little bit more. So you can do different ways. And then I just did a little bit to fill in. So, and then I did a little bit bigger cluster in the middle because that's where my white space was. There's the difference between that with the glitter and without. All right, let's make card number 2. First thing we have to do is clean off our stencil here with some squeaky clean, because we're going to use a different color. I don't have this one finalized, but I did start it because we're going to use some glitter glaze. So let's wipe this off. We're going to use blue. Now, obviously, you could use any color you want, but because I started with blue, that's what we're going to use for this one. Put my glue. we're going to use Clear Skies. Now, I think in my sample that I have, I think I just used the ink that was on my brush. So it might be a little bit different color than this one. Like it might be lighter, but it's, you guys understand that's about the same. So let's start by cutting down on A2 card panel. And this one, no, I'm not going to use my Stick and Stay matte because I'm, yes, I'm not, because I'm going to use the glaze. And I just want to do this. So I'm going to just stick my magnet really down in here in the corner. And I'm doing this once again where I'm adding the stencil in the corner. Once again, lining it up just like I did before. Going to tape it down to my, because I'm using glazes, I want to make sure I tape it down really well. And then I am going to tape off the edges a little bit. Now, depending on how aggressive you are with your spreads, your sprays, or your glitter, you may need more. I am very careful usually when I do this. So grab a little bit of this Clear Skies, and we're just going to go in a little bit. We're going to ink one first. Just kind of trying to go light in the light corner. Nice light blue. We're going to flip it around and do the same thing. Tape it down. Because I'd rather ink one first and then put my glaze on, so that I don't have to accidentally run into the glaze on the next one. And then we'll go again, lightly ink blend. Very light. I'm going to go around. I went both this way and this way just to help get both sides of it. Okay. And then I am going to wipe off my stencil a little bit just because I'm going to put some ink, the glaze on it, and I don't want to transfer too much color. Now my original Fallen Snow, here's the Fallen Snow. Let's open this up. I always keep this piece on, and this is the smaller jars. The bigger, older jars. The new jars come like this. But I'm using up my original length. But keep these lids, so that keeps it from drying out. I'm just going to go in and grab a little bit of the Fallen Snow, which, I mean, look how pretty that is. I know it's hard to see on camera. I'm just going to go in and I don't need a lot. I'm just trying to give it, so the whole snowflake that I covered has the sparkle. Okay, and I'm kind of flattening it. All right. So now I'm going to take off try not to move my stencil or my card. I'm going to remove the stencil first and just kind of hold on to that for a second, or I can put it right here on I'm just going to move it to something I can wipe off quick if there's any. And then I'm going to pull this up very carefully. And then I check if there's any extra, I kind of just tap it. And then here's where we're going to clean this up. But first I'm going to do is clean it up like this. And so you can see that color. That's why I wanted to just use a little bit, because if I put this back in the jar, it could color my panel. And then I'm just going to wipe it up with a baby wipe and repeat the process. Being very careful. Okay, let's wipe it off so it's dry. And then I'm just going to flip my card panel around. And this time I'm going to put my magnet up here just to hold that in place. Grab my stencil. Now you can wipe your stencil off if you want. I'm going to just go for it. I'm using the same exact spot and just lining it back up because as a Christmas card, you know, a little extra glitter isn't going to hurt anything. Glue it in place. Grab my little pieces to keep from the over just a little bit. And then I'll go ahead and I'm going to start with this. This is the colored stuff that I had already. And kind of put that on and use it up. And I'll wipe this off and grab a little bit more. And I don't need a lot because I don't have a lot left to do. And that way I don't have a little too much extra that I'm wasting if I don't need to. And I like this hard edged. I think this was one of our tools. I'm not 100% sure where I got this one from, if this was from Brutus Monroe or where. I have several palette knives that I use. But this one I like because I can go flat and scrape. And then I'm just going to go ahead and wipe this off. I like to tap my glitter glaze back in the jar just so it kind of goes down lower. Put the cover on and leave that. Okay, so we're going to roll our magnets. I'm going to go ahead and pull this tape off first. And then I'm going to gently pull my stencil up and set that off to the side. And then I'm going to pull my card panel up. Look at how pretty that is. All right, now I could scoop this up, but because I'm not doing anything else with it, I'm just going to wipe that little bit up and toss that away. And then through the magic of television, here is my dry one. So I'm going to just set this off to the side to dry for another day, another card. And I am going to wipe this off really fast. So I'm just going to, all I do, you can grab our stencil tray if you want. We have one of those stencil trays where you can add some warm water in our stencil cleaner or just a little soap and wipe it. I'm just going to wipe this with a baby wipe because I'm almost done with it and I can just go wash it off in the sink. But if you do accidentally let it dry on there, just let it sit in some warm soapy water for a while. And I use a nail brush, like a fingernail brush that you can go like this with, and that'll help get all that extra glitter off. But it really doesn't hurt too much. So there we go. All right, so here's our card base, our card panel. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab that same sentiment stamp set. And I'm gonna grab It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. And I'm gonna go just to direct to paper on this one, like, and kind of make a one-layer card, I think. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it down here. Let's get this off. Clean that off a little bit. Alabaster ink. You could introduce another color here. I'm gonna go ahead and stay with the blue color. I'm just gonna lay it in right there. And I'm gonna very, very, very lightly tap this. It's gonna be a little darker because it is a different blue, but it coordinates. And then for a little extra shimmer and color, I think what we're going to do is I'll grab some glitter glaze. Actually, let's go direct to paper again. Let's go direct to paper with this Clear Skies. Okay. Now I could add some shimmer to this by adding that gold chroma mist, but I think this time we're just going to let it sit. And I'm going to grab those snowflake dies and cut a few out. And grab them out of the packaging. See if I did enough. Yeah, and I think there's 4 in this set. I don't know. There's 4 or there's 5, but I can use the inside piece. Set those down quick, run those through the die cut machine. Okay. And then just to add that little bit of extra color, see that extra fun, bright color matches very well. And I can use the small little stars from the inside as well. This one needs to come out. Okay. This guy and this guy. We'll decide how many we use. I might just use 3. Let's get this guy out of here. So this week you'll see the rest of us. Sarah will have some winter themed, project or holiday typey, stencil. I mean, that's the stencil. We're all using the stencils for this week, I should say. I don't mean holiday. They just, because we can use them in all sorts of ways. You could make a very good, fun birthday card with this for the winter birthday. Things like that. So we're just going to add a few of them. Trying to decide what I want to do here. Thinking we need to put these guys here and maybe this guy down here. That looks, maybe put this guy up here because those are kind of similar. And then what we'll do is we'll take this guy and put him down here. There we go. So they kind of sparkle down the plate. All right, let's grab our glue. I'm going to do the big one first because I'm going to tack him down and I'm going to add my magnet on top to hold him in place. And I think I'm going to do one more thing for a little extra shimmer. Here at the end, just because I can. I always think you can't have enough kind of grungy splatter when you come to Halloween cards, and you can't do enough sparkle when you're doing Christmas cards. Pick up my extra glue. All right, I'm going to move those two off to the side here and add a little glue right there and right there. This guy looked a little bigger, so we'll move him down here. And then for a little more shimmer, I'm going to add a little glue to the center of these 4. And I'm going to grab my crystal, flat black crystals, and just put a little bit more shimmer in there. And that will call our card good. Oops. I made my mistake. And if you don't quite get it where you want it, you can use your little point to point it up. There you go. I mean, you could add, just for example, you could add shimmer to these. Maybe we won't do that too. Let's do that to the tips. Do it to this one as well. Get 2 there. I mean, you could go crazy adding. You could add them to each of the big dots. I could add one here and here if I really want to, but I think that's good. I'm going to call that good. Move this one over a little bit. And grab that extra glue off of there. There we go, you guys. So here is the day 7, I believe, today, or of Stencilpalooza. There are 2 stencils being released today. These are stencils that have been popular and have been requested to come back out of stock or out of archives. So when they are gone, they are gone. And all of Stencilpalooza stencils go back in the vault on September 1st. So if there are some you're interested in, buy them, okay? All right, I will have up another video with the other stencil being released today a little bit later tonight. Thanks. Have a great day.